After more than 4 centuries of Western tonal music production, one could think that we've possibly run out of original chord progressions. I can tell you how many times I've heard my grumpy friend saying, "Yeah, I like this song, but the band is always using the same 4 chords." In this video, I'll try to answer a simple and quite useless question. What's the total, conceivable, possible number of chord progressions? And if the number turns out to be small enough, I'll brute force the generation of all possible chord progressions. Then I'll copyright them, so I'll become rich. Well, I really can't do that because, unfortunately, you can't copyright chord progressions. This work is inspired by a video by Adam Neely I recently watched, where he was talking to a couple of guys who brute forced melody generation. If you haven't, go check that out. It's good, and it's somewhat complementary to this one. But now, let's get to the business. To calculate the total number of chord progressions, we'll use the power of a mysterious field of mathematics called combinatorics. Not surprisingly, combinatorics is used to count stuff. But wait, I've been talking about chord progressions so far, but I'm not sure that everyone's watching knows what chords, let alone chord progressions, really are. So let's start from chords and crunch some numbers. A chord is a set of pitches played simultaneously. In the Western music tradition, it's customary to create chords by stacking minor and major thirds on top of each other. A chord with 3 notes is called a triad. Triads are the backbone of the tonal harmonic system. They've been used in all genres and music eras, from Mozart's string quartets all the way to the overly produced BTS songs. I can't accept that I've mentioned Mozart and BTS in the same sentence. Regardless, triads can be major, minor, diminished, and augmented depending on the type of thirds we combine. Starting from the root note, if we stack a major third and a minor third, we get a major triad. A minor triad is equal to minor third plus major third. A diminished triad is obtained stacking a minor third and another minor third. An augmented triad is equal to major third plus major third. These chords are quite simple to recognize. If you'd like to use cheesy, stereotypical emotion-related descriptions, you could say major is happy. Minor is sad. Diminished is tense. And augmented is...
Stole a soul from the sun in a world come undone at the seams.
Let's move on. If we stack another third on top of a triad, we get a 7th chord. 7th chords have 4 notes. They're quite spicy and are the bread and butter of jazz music. We can stack both major and minor thirds, so we get a total of 8 possible types of 7th chords. I guess you start to see a pattern emerging here. For a triad, the number of combinations is equal to 2 to the power of 2, which is equal to 4. With 4 notes, we have 2 to the power of 3, which is 8. If we add another triad on a 7th chord, we get a 9th chord. How many types of 9th chords are there? You nailed it. It's 16. So the general rule to calculate the number of variants of a third-based chord with n notes is 2 to the power of n minus 1. We could continue with 11th and 13th chords, but we'll safely stop at 9ths for the purpose of our calculation. If you consider triads, sevenths, and ninths altogether, in total we have 28 types of chords we can build on a root note. We all know that there are 12 notes in an octave, so we have a total of 336 chords to choose from. This was just for chords. What about chord progressions? A chord progression is a sequence of chords. In rock music, for example, the same chord progressions are often repeated time and again in a verse or a chorus. It turns out that many chord progressions contain just 4 chords. The same 4 chords, right? Each chord usually changes at a new bar, and the whole chord progression is the harmonic backbone for a musical phrase. Think of Zombies from the Cranberries, for example. If we constrain our calculation to 4 chord progressions, we end up with the incredible number of 12,745,506,816 chord progressions. We still haven't considered harmonic rhythm though. Harmonic rhythm is concerned with the time domain, and it indicates when chords are changed. Take this example. C major that goes to G major. We can have the same harmonic content but 2 different chord sequences by changing the harmonic rhythm. Listen. To account for harmonic rhythm in our calculations, we need to make a few assumptions. Let's consider chord sequences with 4 bars. Let's consider 1 chord for each bar. Let's assume the time signature is 4/4, which is basically 4 bits in a bar. Let's divide a bar into 8 parts and assume we can place a chord anywhere in those 8 places. If we account for a harmonic rhythm to calculate the total number of chord progressions, we end up with the astounding number of 5 by 10 to the power of 13, which is 5 followed by 13 zeros. Now, it's not uncommon for songs to have 8 different chords in a chord progression. If we calculate the total number of chord progressions with 8 chords, we end up with an astronomical number, 3 by 10 to the power of 27. To give you an idea of how big this number is, let's draw a comparison here. There are approximately 10 to the power of 19 grains of sand on Earth. It would take the grains of sand contained in 100 million Earths to match the total number of possible chord progressions. This begs a huge question. Given we have an unthinkable number of chord progressions, why do some writers always use the same 4 chords? Now, I feel a little bit like my grumpy friend. The repeated use of a small subset of chord progressions is probably determined by musical symmetries and the way we perceive music, or just by the fact that we are a quite dumb species. Unfortunately, I don't have time to investigate this matter in the video, but let me know in the comments if you'd like me to make a video on this fascinating topic. Please do, I love it. Now, onto the real stuff. We know computers are quite fast, so can I generate all possible chord progressions and become the harmonic father of all music that has ever and will ever be composed? Running the math, I discovered that with my laptop, it would take me more than 30 billion years to generate all the possible 8-chord long progressions. This is twice the current age of the universe. Something tells me I may not make it. But wait! I can constrain the chord progression just a little bit. If only I could drop harmonic rhythm, drop 9th chords, drop 7th chords, drop augmented triads, drop diminished triads, consider only 4 chord sequences, focus on major and minor triads, I'd be in business again. The total number of possible chord progressions consisting of 4 major minor triads is 331,776. This is a tractable number by all means. The generated progressions would actually cover a huge chunk of real-world scenarios. After all, most classical and popular music rely on major and minor triads. With restored confidence in my computational resources, I went on and built a simple program that brute forces the generation of all possible triadic chord progressions. The program accepts as an argument the length of the chord sequences. The generated chord progressions are saved both as MIDI files and in a JSON file. I run the program setting the length of the progressions to 4. It took hours to power through all the combinations and save them. But now I'm finally done. I feel I'm the master of harmony. I have a JSON file with all possible chord progressions from the dullest to the nicest. I can also listen to the progressions if only I dared open the directory containing 300,000 plus MIDI files. I tried to do it once, it crashed my laptop. If you're a music maker, I've already beat you at the game. No matter what you'll compose, I already have your harmonic creation safely stored somewhere in my master JSON file. Unless you decide to use 7ths or progressions with 5 chords. I thought I would create a web app enabling people to navigate all the chord progressions that I've generated, but unfortunately for now, I'm too busy. So if you'd like to feel the harmonic power I felt, go in the description. You'll find a link to the code in my GitHub page, and then you can generate the progressions on your machine. Guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. In this channel, I talk about things at the crossroads of music, AI and startups. If you're technical, I also create a lot of AI, audio and music tutorials. If you've enjoyed the video and would like to watch more, consider subscribing and remember to hit the notification bell. I hope to see you next time. Cheers.